Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I rank the 1995 NFL Properties Santa Claus cards. 95 was the middle year for this trend, where in 1993 the NFL Properties started doing what essentially was a promo set where all of the card manufacturers made a Santa Claus card for redemption. That it was really kind of cool what they did. It was a carryover from what Pro Set and Pro Line had been doing. They did it industry wide, and it ran through 1997. But unfortunately, the enthusiasm over it waned. So in 1993, almost all the card companies took it really seriously and put a lot of work into it. And by 1997, they were just sleepwalking, and it was really time to move on. 1995 was the bridge year between when everybody was still energetic and when that really fell off. So this was a year where you got to see kind of what was coming, but you got to feel a lot of what had been in the past. And in this year, almost all the cards were still Santa Claus cards, and that would definitely fall away as we got further down the road. So this is that last year where it was really still kind of fun. But not all of them were a lot of fun. Some of them were, like I said, not very good. And what better place to start on this list at number 9 than with Topps? Because Topps is a company that has had a great tradition of needing to be motivated. And if they're motivated, they can do some amazing things. But if they're not motivated, they are just great at sleepwalking. When I started out in 1990, when I first discovered Topps, I thought they were some cheap supermarket off-brand that was kind of put out there just to make money, which actually fit Topps at the time. It took me a few years to learn that Topps was actually a card company to take seriously, and that's why they made Stadium Club, and there was a lot of changes that they made in the very first years that I was in the hobby because of how far behind they were. But they needed that motivation. If they were just left to their own, they would do nothing of quality. And this is a perfect example. This is one of the cases in this set of an actual card where it's done like a promo card, but there's no gold foil on the card. How in the world can you do a promo card with no gold foil on the card? The replacement ink on it just looks terrible. And on top of that, well, the art isn't all that great. It's well enough made, and the card has some potential. If Santa had been drawn better and if it had gold foil, this would have been a really cool card, but it's not. The art's not that great, but my word, why in the world did they not do gold foil? It's a promo card, why not? And okay, I can't be too upset at them, because as I move to number 8, we're moving over to Skybox and their Skybox Premium design, where again, they don't have the gold foil on the card, and again, the card suffers. Now, there is a big difference, because the Topps card, that Stadium Club design, is not a good design. It's really boring, very clunky at best, whereas the Skybox card is a really, really good design. So the card looks good, except for, well, interestingly, the art for Santa has gone downhill, and dramatically so. I mean, this looks like a cutout from some kid's coloring book that's just pasted on. I don't know why they did that, because the cards here for Skybox are exquisite. It'd help if it had the gold foil. I do like the fact that it has a really nice green color on the side. That works well. But that art is just pasted on in a terrible way. And on top of that, dude, what in the world is up with the creamsicle Buccaneers image behind for the football field? I mean, at least over at Stadium Club, look, you got the New York Giants out there, which look good against some green helmets. So apparently it's Santa Claus team that they're going up against or whatever, but at least it looks good. The action looks good. But I assume that it's a Trent Dilfer card that they used for the 1995 Skybox Premium card, because, I mean, just the creamsicles just don't make any sense. They could have chosen quite a few other teams to really make the card feel like it fits a lot better with Santa Claus. It's not a well thought out card in any way, but at least the Skybox cards do look better than the Topps Stadium Club cards. But there is a bottom 3 where basically a family of designs that all kind of fit together, because at number 7, I've got Pacific, and with Pacific, okay, the card is looking a lot better. There's no need for gold foil because these are the Pacific Prism insert cards, the one per pack insert cards, which had like helmets and Super Bowl logos and stuff like that. Here, they have that same design, but they have a really gorgeous ski resort at night shot, which makes it's supposed to give the feeling of being up at the North Pole, and it looks fantastic. I really do like that. But is it possible that the art for Santa has actually gone downhill from even the Skybox one? This just looks terrible. And I really don't know what the deal was with Pacific, because they were doing this Santa Claus art around this time. It's such a distraction from the back, because the back is so great. I mean, even mute it a little bit so he fits in with the background, something, anything. But the big thing that gets this card all the way up to 7 and past the other two that we looked at is that the card back looks really good with a shot of, I assume, Pacific's headquarters in the Seattle area. So that is the one thing about this card that really stands out strong. But the front, again, the image behind the card design, those do work really well, but it says a lot that you've got to work really hard to find anything of quality in any of these 3 cards. But now we move up to the middle group, which is 3 cards. Again, 3 cards that kind of fit together. In this case, they're kind of the part of the no man's land, where it starts off with Collector's Edge. And with Collector's Edge, this is a card that is now starting to do the right things. The art of Santa, okay, that looks good. I love the idea of the Christmas tree with the baubles with the different teams on them. The Collector's Edge star on top, I think, is really cool. The artistic license, I'll forgive them. I'll just let that slide, because it actually doesn't work out too bad. It does read as not a bad card for a Santa Claus card. And frankly, from what we've been seeing, that is a huge success. Now, the one thing that really throws this card off is that the back looks like a really bad trip. I mean, it is crazy what's going on the back of the card. But the card front does look pretty good. I wish the art was better, but it really doesn't matter, because it at least does fit into this middle tier. And then when we move to the very middle card at number 5, we're moving to Proline, and Proline really did do a good job of establishing kind of a standard Santa Claus card. It has kind of a bit of the spirit of what we'd seen from Proline in the previous couple of years. The art for Santa is pretty good, and I really like the theme of him pulling boxes of 1995 Proline, and frankly, I'm really jealous when I look at this art, because it does look good. In the stadium, I think that's kind of cool. The only knock I have for this card is the fact that both Drew Bledsoe and Emmitt Smith are horribly drawn. I mean, really, really horribly drawn. They're very flat. They're not fully developed. I mean, they spent so much time on Santa that I wish that they'd done it with the 2 players. But at least on the card back, you get the same Santa Claus shot, but it's focused in, so you can just see the Santa Claus image on its own. You got to look on the back to see it. But again, this is just a straightforward middle-of-the-road card for the middle-of-the-road year for these cards. So that is very much a success. But when we move on to number 4, we're stepping away from the actual brand specifically, and we're going with the header card, the title card. And this card is, this one bothers me because it's very well crafted. Santa Claus sitting there with the NFL hat and giving the present. All of that works really well. I like the way it looks, and the back is it's very neatly created. And the art really does have a lot of strength to it, and they have gold foil on it, which is wonderful. But the problem I have is that the kid was not well drawn, and it always throws me off, because otherwise, this to me is very much like an early pro set card. It reads with that kind of interest, that kind of Santa Claus, Coca-Cola art, kind of a quality to it. And I just wish that the kid was better drawn, because it always drives me nuts seeing that. But it does kind of make me wonder who made this card. And I think I have an idea, because when we move to number 3 with Pinnacle, we have more gold foil. So I assume that Pinnacle probably created that card since they are the only card in this entire set that has gold foil on the front. Definitely on the front, so I'll say that. Now, this isn't as good of a card front as the previous one, although it's more consistent. So I got no problem with seeing all three of the players on the front with the way that it looks. Not great, but the big strength to the Pinnacle card is the fact that on the back it has a really good shot of Santa Claus. Not necessarily the best text. I don't like the hut, 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 but the image of Santa Claus, now we're talking about a real straightforward Santa Claus card. You got to look on the back, but at least it's there. And so this card actually carries across, basically it's like Pacific, which actually was third from the end as well, where the card back is what really carries the card. It really helps, but the front of the card, again, not too bad, and the gold foil helps. But the top two are in a whole nother category because the top two are very clearly just across the board successes, gorgeous cards, lots of fun. Or one of them is a gorgeous card, the other one's lots of fun. And the gorgeous card at number 2 is Playoff. And the Playoff card, right off the bat, it's really weird because the whole point of Playoff was the Tech Chrome technology. And 92 had it, 93, 94, 95, 96 they had it. They have it in 97? I think they did use it in 97, but at least in 95 and 96 very much that was the foundation of how the cards were designed, but here they don't bother with the Tech Chrome. So the card on the front is just a really nice look that actually feels like the Action Pack cards from the first two sets. It's like they carried the mantle for Action Packed. Love it. Gorgeous. The crystal Playoff logo. I love that. And on the card back, here's the last piece of gold foil. So 3 cards have gold foil on it, and one of them it's on the back. But the very bold look of that Playoff card is about as good of a promo for 1995 Playoff as you're going to find. I think it looks really kind of nice. But while this card is a gorgeous card, the best card of the set is, I think, hands down, Upper Deck, which again was holding the standard for about the best card and certainly the most fun. Here we have Dan Marino and the Dolphins playing the Bears. And it's so awesome. Now, this is a case where Dan Marino is winning the game at the last second over the Bears, and I don't mind. In fact, when I look at this card, I remember that the Dolphins were the one team that beat the 85 Bears in the regular season. I don't mind that happened because, look, I think things worked out pretty well for the 85 Bears. But it also reminds me of the fact that the Super Bowl Shuffle was actually filmed just after the Bears had lost to the Dolphins in the regular season. Only that Bears team would have the gumption to do that. And again, things worked out pretty well for the Bears, so no concerns with it. But this card is just so much fun, and the art is just a blast, and I am really glad that the Bears showed up on this card. I just love this card. So to me, this is hands down the best card of all of the 1995 NFL Properties Santa Claus cards. And I think it's the only one that doesn't even have Santa Claus on it. But regardless, doesn't matter because it's just awesome. So that's how I rank the 1995 Santa Claus cards. Next week I'll be doing the 1996 set, but I've already done the 93 set and the 94 set. I did that last year, so you can go check those videos out. And I also did a video talking about the NFL Santa Claus cards across the span from the 1989 promotional gift card from Pro Set all the way through through the 90s and a little spurt of top stuff in the 2000s. So if you haven't seen that video, I highly urge you to go check that video out. I'm going to try to remember to link it down in the description below. But regardless, that's my video. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please, I do urge you to do so. And yeah, check out my other videos, and thank you very much for watching.